Hello class, so here are a few maps that I selected for my project. Number one, we have this map of the northern textiles and southern plantations. So as you can see, my map outlines the red is the textiles, as well as just the plantations that we have on there, as well as the cotton. So we could see that also it's labeled, okay, Richmond, and then it says 1800. So we have the years of these things that are happening and also the locations. So that was very good. Just a brief overview of it. Economically interdependent. The southern plantations and the northern plantations use each other despite their disagreement on a few things. So the southern plantation used enslaved labor to produce raw cotton, while the northern factories processed that cotton to finish textiles. So below also we have the Trail of Tears. I really didn't know about this, so it was very shocking to know what happened with this. So directly tied to southern plantations for expansion, demand for cotton increased, southern enslavers wanted more land, forced removal of Native Americans. So basically just the enslavers wanted more land and more things for the land to plant on, and just basically more things to produce their their money. So you see the maps below show that that's where the Native Americans had to travel. So you could see that's a pretty good chunk of land that they had to travel, and that they also ultimately lost. So that was very crazy to hear. So during the nullification crisis, the tariff abomination, we see that the South Carolina claimed the right to nullify federal tariffs. The state threatened secession if the government tried to force tariffs. So ultimately, Andrew Jackson asserted federal authority while supporting a compromise tariff. So we could see as this map, it outlines by color coordination in favor, oppose, and edited of not voting. So basically we could see the states that were opposed to it, that wanted it. So I thought that was a good little map. Okay, so for the Missouri Crisis, Missouri Compromise, it basically applied for statehood as a slave state, threatened to upset the balance of compromise, and admitted Missouri as a slave state and Maine as a free state. So as we can see in this map, it is also color-coded. The Missouri state says 1820 to 1821, and is closed to slavery by Missouri Compromise, open to slavery by Missouri Compromise, free states and territories, enslaved states and territories. So we can see it is covered. Arkansas, we have Florida Territory, Oregon County, Spanish possessions, Michigan. So this is a very great map because it's very concise and color codes everything appropriate. And then so for the bank wars, just some brief overview. Andrew Jackson effort to destroy the second bank of the U.S., the United States, but it favored the wealthy elites, northern financiers. Jackson vetoed the bank recharter, moved federal funds to state pet banks, which established the economy. So as we can see in my cartoon, we have the downfall of the mother bank. These people over here kind of it looks like a devil. We're running away from the bank, and then we have these two people that are more okay, that they're in charge, they're the ones, and then they have the paper in their hand and just things written on the paper. So we do see that. That's good, as well as the infrastructure falling down. So it was very good. But overall, just reflecting on everything and what I've learned, I definitely will take the Native American story more to my heart, because the Trail of Tears, because I didn't know about that, and I'm very glad that I know about that now, because I'm more educated about what really happened. And a lot of times the story gets erased, or history is getting erased, but we didn't know what they endured. So I'm very glad I learned that. And just to also end it with the very reflection of my two quotes, the two quotes that I have written down here, is that the roots of civil war were planted decades earlier through economic conflict, territorial expansion, and political compromises over slavery. So that's from American Yawp. As well as my second quote, Andrew Jackson's presidency expanded democracy for white men while simultaneously deepening racial inequality and sectional tension. So honestly, just all this stuff, very great, very, very informational, and just things that I didn't know. I'm very glad that I get to really recap about things I didn't know before.